Hello everyone, my name is Rashi Thakran and I am a mental health advocate, social activist and a change maker from Bangalore. Today I'm here to talk about my story. I am also a survivor of depression, PTSD and a survivor of suicide loss. So I think I'll have to go back a little bit for this. I lost my younger brother to suicide in 2019. And he was only 18 years old. And I think that's what I want to talk about today. I have covered the what's and the how's of it in a lot of videos on a lot of platforms. So this is not what I'm going to talk about. I actually want to talk about a different aspect. The stigma that survivors of suicide loss face, and even survivors themselves face when it comes to suicide. So obviously after my brother passed away, my family and I, we were grieving. We were coming to terms with our loss and also trying to understand what was going on and what had happened. And during that time, I know people were really understanding. Some of them were really supportive. They meant well. But at the same time, people asked us some really agonizing questions, people who didn't get it. But I don't even blame them because, in a situation like this, people don't know how to react. None of us know how to react or how to respond or what to say and how to, sort of comfort and support someone who is grieving a loss such as this. So definitely, I think to an extent, my family and I, we faced a little bit of stigma. People wanted to hide the fact that it was a suicide. Not just, the family members, but certain relatives and, in terms of people who were around us, they didn't want to accept, or they just didn't want to talk about that part of it. And I think that's where the stigma begins. People wanted to hide it. People wanted to call it an accident, But we knew what had happened. And that way, I think my parents and I, we were very clear that no, we're not going to hide it because we're not ashamed of it. We're not ashamed of my brother. And, there's nothing to lie about. We're not going to lie about it. And I think that's what really made me come out and talk about it more, because I realized the sort of, silence that is there around suicide. So that was definitely one thing. And also, when it came to newspapers and journalists and the people in the media, they also, a lot of times, and this happens even now, because I am so open about it, that doesn't mean that, I will talk about everything surrounding it. No, it's very difficult for me, and I will not talk about the details or talk about things that I'm not comfortable talking about, but people just want to know. And I think that's what the problem is, and this is something that we've seen in the recent times as well. People want to know a reason. They want to pin it on a reason that, okay, this is why this person did it. This is why this person decided to take his or her own life. They want a concrete answer. They want a reason. And a lot of times people have asked me that, probably, and said to me that, probably it was because of exams and because of that stress. And I think that's definitely the reason and stuff like that. I was like, no. This is so complicated. It's not that simple. Taking this step is a very, very huge thing, and there are a lot of reasons involved. You can't just pinpoint it on something or someone. And this is what people are trying to do right now. They just want a concrete answer, and I'm sorry, we don't have that. Even the person who has left, even that person can't tell you why he or she did what they did. They won't know what to tell you. They won't have an answer. So I think this is something that society needs to understand, that it's not that simple. Whatever that person is going through in that moment is not that simple. You can't just get over it So please try to, be more open-minded when it comes to these situations. Don't ask, those sort of questions. Don't make the pain that the family is already going through worse by making them relive all of those moments and by making them reiterate everything that has happened. Don't do that. Try to be more compassionate and more understanding, and just just respect their privacy. And whatever it is that they're comfortable talking about, they will talk about it. And don't force them to trying to ask all the details and the hows and the whys and the what's, whens. Don't be so nosy. It's really important that we create a safe space for people to grieve in peace, for people to come to terms with their loss in peace. And I think that's something that we all deserve. And this is why I have also been working on creating a survivors of suicide loss community in India, because we as a family, my mom, dad and I, we found solace with other survivors because they understood our pain, they knew what we were going through. And this came through a Facebook group. And it's an international group. It's not an Indian or related to India. It's a very open and international group, specifically for families who have lost a loved one to suicide. And I think that's where we found our peace. That's where we met people like us who understood, who were also on the same boat, I think, and that really helped us cope. And that's when I realized the power of community and how important that is. So yeah, I think that's what I wanted to talk about today, and I really hope that going forward we're a little more aware, a little more compassionate towards each other. Thank you so much for having me.